Through this flood, what I decided and learned, well, there were a couple of things. One was I started doing what I call soul talking. My spirit guide taught me this. Instead of having a conversation with someone, so this applies to anyone. If you have somebody that you feel like you have something unresolved with, or you can't get it resolved, then talk to their soul instead of the person, because then you don't have to go through the ego. And you can also be more vulnerable, right? So I got to my office one day and I started talking to the empty chair sitting across from me. And I started pouring my heart out to that chair like it was my mom sitting there. And I told her, I'm not here to change you. I don't want to change you. I love you. I just miss my old mom. That's all. And I like when we laugh. And, you've always been such a support system and had the right words. And I just miss that. And, I'm not trying to change you. I just want to love you. But I want you to know how deeply I love you. And anyway, one day I did that, and then I was singing the song You Are My Sunshine, and that has a special meaning for she and I from something that happened years ago. Well, that evening I got home and I walked through the back door, and right when I opened the back door, my mom was standing in the kitchen with her broken arm, singing You Are My Sunshine. Now, she hadn't been out of bed in I don't know how long because of being in a diaper, bedbound, but she was standing in the kitchen and she was singing that. And I'm like, whoa. I said, what are you doing? She goes, hey, baby, I'm trying to fix your favorite meal. I'm like, you're up. And I said, that's great. And I said, why are you singing that? And she said, I don't know. It just came to my mind. I'm like, of course it did. I put it there. So you can do that with people. You can talk to their soul, and there's no way that they can't receive it, because consciousness is consciousness. And when you think about somebody, you link your energy to them. And what I started noticing was so because I got that validation, I started doing it every day. And what I was doing was reinforcing love. Love is a high frequency, and how can I help my mom? I can just love her. It's a high frequency that can make change. Now, I didn't do it with intent on of having the intent of anything other than loving her. And what I started noticing was she started getting up, she started interacting more. And I'm not trying to say I changed her. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is she responded to being just like any of us would in a loving environment. And I just got her interacting more. And look, by the time she moved home, she was off the fentanyl patches and she was up out of the diaper. She was doing okay. She was still taking the pain pills, but she was doing okay. And I swear that was the best experience ever. I don't regret it. I don't regret that time. I remember one day driving to my center, and my spirit guide, so sweetly, as she usually does, comes over my shoulder and says, hey, if you knew something was going to happen to your mom next week, would you have regrets? If the answer is yes, fix it. If the answer is no, you're fine. I'm like, what? Lola, damn, I would have regrets. What do I do? It didn't mean fix a lifetime of stuff. What it meant was I needed to take some sort of action that would fix that feeling of regret. And so that's when I started doing the soul talking. That's when I started just showing up and loving her no matter what, because it's the only thing that felt right. It's the only thing that felt right. And I highly suggest anybody that has anything left undone, or if they can ask that question to themselves, if you knew something was going to happen to your loved one next week, would you have regrets? If the answer is yes, fix it. If the answer is no, you're good. Fixing it can just mean speaking your truth, writing a letter, if you can't speak to the person, but fixing it so you can be released from it. And when she died, I didn't have regrets because I was able to have that time with her. And, the pain pill addiction continued, but she never got back in a diaper again. And I think my sister and dad and we're all grateful for that. Something else that happened. So fast forward, January 11th of 2019. It's a Friday night. I decided after I finished readings, there was a house I wanted to look at. I can't remember. I remember the area, but I don't remember the street it was on. But it was at the end of a street, and it was kind of, there weren't houses real close to it. So it's at the end of the street. You go to the end of the street, and you take a left, and there's nothing else but that house right there on the right. So it wasn't close to anything. So I show up, and it has a gate. Now, of course, I don't go beyond the gate. How could I? But I got out and I took some pictures. And the reason why I wanted to go look at it is because the pictures online didn't show if it had this, it looked like an office space it said something about office space online, but it didn't have any pictures of it. And I wanted to see if that was like in the, a separate building or what. But so anyway, I show up and I'm trying to pull up the website, like, where the hell's this house? I think I was looking for a phone number or something. But anyway, I took some pictures. I was there maybe 5 minutes. I left. And when I got halfway down the road, I said, let me just go back and take a picture of the realtor, the sign. Well, right when I pulled up, this white Range Rover flying down the road blocks me in. This guy gets out with a gun and puts it up to my chest and claims to be the homeowner, which I knew he wasn't, and intuitively I knew he wasn't. He was actually the son of the homeowner. He was so drugged up, but he accused me of being with the CIA and that I climbed over the fence and went in the house, which, I mean, this is a large fence. There's no way. And I went into I was on the SWAT team, and I'm like, they teach you to be calm. And I went into this really calm mode, and I said, look, pull up your cameras, look back, and show me where I went to your house, because I did not go in your house. I did not climb the fence. I didn't even think about climbing the fence, but I wouldn't do that. And you kept on. You went in my house, and and the whole time, and you could see his eyes. He's like cracked out, and but he wouldn't put the gun down. I said, just put the gun down and let's talk. And he's like, no, he's like, don't move, blah, blah, blah. And then he said, I want you to show me your driver's license. I want a picture of your driver's license. Well, what are you going to do? You're at gunpoint. And when I leaned down in that car, I thought he was going to blow my head off. But all of a sudden, I see all these orbs flying up, and there's like every angel in the vicinity, and all these people's deceased loved ones I connected with, they're all coming in from all directions, like to protect me. Well, this went on for 20 minutes, and that is a very long time to have a gun at your chest. I just kept talking him down, like, hey, look, I'm not with the CIA. And I have my midlife crisis car, so it's a Camaro. I don't know why he thought, I don't know, what was I supposed to be in? But he kept commenting, yeah, you're in that car and you're with the CIA. And evidently he was doing something illegal, because why would he care, right? And I said, I'm not with the CIA. I said, I'm actually a medium. Own a spiritual center. I can show you my business card. I'll show you pictures of my business. And he just kept on and on and on. And finally, and I'm like, everything in me screaming, right? But I'm very calm on the outside. And I said, look, just put the gun down. And after about 20 minutes, he put it down he put it down, like as in pointing to the ground right in front of him. Well, by the time I left, I had already gotten his name, and I don't even know I can't remember, because what isn't a blur is my fear and what he did, but what is a blur is how it ended, how I ended up getting out of there. I talked him down enough to where I'm like, and I don't remember why I got his name. I was like, let me get in touch with you, and or maybe you can show me the house yourself or something like that. But anyway, finally he let me go, and I lost it. I didn't even make it home. I got to the end of the road, and I called my friend. I called my sister. I'm like panicking. I'm freaked out. I saw my life flash in front of me. The trauma of that. Oh, wow. I can't even tell you what it feels like to have a gun to your chest and by somebody that's so cracked out that you don't. I kept telling take your finger off the trigger. If you're not going to put the gun down, just please take your finger off the trigger. And he finally did that after about 15 minutes, but it was horrific. So a friend of mine got in touch with this man named Brent Baum, who does what's called a reframing. Thank God, literally, I got help that night. He called me from New York. He's an author, too. He travels all over the world. And he did a reframing with me over the phone that night at 11-something at night to try and help me through that so I didn't continue with the trauma. Thank God, because 2 days later, my mom died. If I had not had some type of help that night, I don't know how I would have handled her death. But that was terrible. It was terrible. I had some PTSD after that, let me tell you. It was being arm robbed when I was younger. I was arm robbed twice. I don't know if I talked about that earlier. Did I? I can't remember. But I was arm robbed twice. And the trauma that came from that, it's like I was replaying it. So Brent helped me through that. And 2 days later, it was on a Sunday, I get a call. And Angel says, hey, Dad called. Mom's being taken to the ER. I said, why? She couldn't breathe. Well, she's never had that problem of not being able to breathe. So I said, so all of a sudden my intuition was screaming, get up there now. And I told Angel, don't hesitate. We got to go now. We need to go now. And I was supposed to be doing a reading in like an hour or two. So I said, I need a few minutes. I got to call my client and I'll be up at the hospital. And I'll go into that in the next recording.